our goals, discuss how and where we see things in our everyday life that relates to art, and start off by figuring out, what do we know about Egypt so far?
Ooh, the pyramids.
Alright, so we got pyramids. Thank you for raising your hand.
We found anyone that they transported the block from the Nile River to get to the pyramids.
Awesome. So they transported those big, heavy blocks that they used to make the pyramids. They didn't build it out of sand. They used blocks, and they had to use the water, the rivers, to help carry those rocks. So what else?
It's so hot that people die to the skeletons.
Well, you're close. It was so hot that when they died, they turned into
Mummies.
mummies.
Not really.
Do they kill?
No, it's just when the air's really hot and dry, instead of your skin just kind of falling off and turning into a skeleton, it mummifies, so it just dries out, and that's what's left behind. So yeah, you were right. The air was so hot and dry that happened.
It's Egypt.
We know that Egypt is Egypt.
Mummies are not really real, but
Well, mummies are real, but
these kind of mummies
No,
are
not
real. But when a king dies, they turn them into mummies instead of art.
we are talking about Egypt because we're going to start an Egyptian program.
We're talking about that in
Yes! This is going to be awesome.
What else?
We know that Cleopatra was one of the major queens in Egypt.
They wear fancy clothes.
They wear fancy clothes. I think in 2 or 3 more classes we're going to discuss the outfits and the clothes. So yes. Yeah. All right, let's get 2 more things that you might know about Egypt before I show you the video.
Okay, what I know is cool.
It's cool. All right, what else? Jump. Yeah. It's hot. You weren't in here, but yes, we talked about how hot it is, how hot and dry. I have 2 videos that I want to show you. I'm going to count to 10. You may either sit on the floor up here, or you may sit at your chair, or scoot forward on your chair. I'm going to give you 10, and then start the video. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Guys, no chairs up front. We're going to sit up here. You can sit up here right here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Now remember, my star students, my respectful, responsible artists are quiet during the video. They're watching and they're listening and they're learning. They're being patiently wait while this commercial ends.
In the beginning there was the sun, and the sun gazed upon the land, and chose it from among the others. And the land grew and became an empire, destined to be the cradle of civilization, and known as the mother of the world. The land of legend and
Remember,
mystery.
star students are quietly listening to the video.
The story to tell. A world to live. Gift of the Nile. Guardian of the past. Capturing the hearts of people all over the world. Get inspired to start your own story. Where it all Hold your breath as you stand before what is considered the greatest spectacle in the whole world. Live the Egyptian nightlife. Sail in boats on the Nile. Or dive into an amazing world of color and beauty. From east to west, from north to south, visitors will find a unique place that will provide some of the richest experiences of their whole lives. Come and discover the land that has captivated the soul of the people throughout ages. An amazing trip you won't easily forget. Get inspired by the news of the world. Start your personal journey where it all begins.
Does anyone know what that big thing is?
Oh, yeah, so far.
Anybody know what it's called? For show? It's the Sphinx. It's a giant cat man. Alright, so that was, class, that was a little bit of what Egypt looks like. What kind of things did we see in that video? What's in the land of Egypt? Alright, so we saw, going back to our goal today of where we see art, we saw pictures on the walls, written on the walls. There's a bunch of sand, so where do you think they are? What kind of landscape do you think they're? Maybe a beach. We saw the sharks in the water. At the sea. Excuse me. Remember, responsible, respectful artists are listening. Alright, what else? What? We saw camels. So where do you think maybe they are? What kind of landscape? Desert? Okay, maybe the desert with the camels in the sand. Lewis, did you want to share something? Alright, now somebody mentioned Queen Cleopatra earlier, right? Alright, Egypt had kings and queens, so we're going to learn a little bit about them because our project is going to be turning ourselves into kings. Hold on, we'll say questions. What's up, king? What's up, king? What's up, king? It is John 5 is awesome. Cool. Oh, it worked. It worked.
I know, how cool would it be to be Pharaoh? Dear Tim and Moby, I'm trying to find out information on the pharaohs in Egypt. Can you help me? From Justine. Sure, the pharaohs were the kings of ancient Egypt. The term pharaoh actually comes from a word that means great house. Ancient Egypt's monarchy lasted from about 3000 BCE to 30 BCE. Oh, a monarchy is a form of government headed by one ruler who has supreme power for life. The kingdom of ancient Egypt was structured in a rigid hierarchy. On the bottom were slaves, and above them were free working people like farmers and soldiers. Scribes, priests, and nobles were higher up on the social pyramid. And at the very top was the pharaoh, the political and religious leader of Egypt. Being pharaoh carried a lot of responsibilities. As the political leader, he made laws and collected taxes. No, it didn't quite work like that. Usually, people gave the pharaoh a percentage of their grain, their livestock, whatever they had. As the religious leader, the pharaoh was the high priest of every Egyptian temple. That means he had to perform rituals and oversee the construction of new temples. Pharaohs were thought to be a human form of Horus, one of the most important gods the Egyptians worshipped. Horus had a falcon's head because he was god of the sky. In images on temples and in tombs, pharaohs are usually shown carrying things that symbolize their total power. Two of the most common are the flail, or whip, and the crook, a tool used by shepherds. Another symbol of authority was the uraeus, a stylized cobra usually worn on the forehead. Most historians believe that the pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs. When a pharaoh died, he was mummified, then sealed inside the pyramid with food and other stuff he'd need for the afterlife. Pyramids were huge undertakings. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for the pharaoh Khufu, took about 20 years and tens of thousands of workers to build. Well, yeah, even with all that wealth and power, being a pharaoh definitely had its downside. There was always the threat of assassination. And pharaohs were also military leaders who had to fend off attacks from other countries. Plus, since they were considered gods, pharaohs could be blamed for things like a drought, or disease, or a bad harvest. Right, so the Egyptian monarchy was divided into dynasties, or successions of leaders in the same family. There were 32 different dynasties in the Egyptian monarchy's 3,000-year reign. One of the most famous pharaohs is Ramses II, who ruled about 3,200 years ago during the 19th dynasty. These famous for building giant temples, and because he was once believed to be the pharaoh mentioned in Exodus, the second book of the Hebrew Bible. Before him, Akhenaten from the 18th dynasty is famous for trying to set up a monotheistic religion, worshiping only one god. And everyone's heard of the 18th dynasty pharaoh Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut. Tutankhamun wasn't an especially important pharaoh, but after his gold-filled tomb was discovered in 1922, he became world famous. Sure, there were a few female pharaohs too, like Hatshepsut, who led Egypt through one of its richest periods. And actually, the very last pharaoh was a woman. That was Cleopatra VII. She ruled during the Ptolemaic dynasty. Her dynasty, and the entire Egyptian monarchy, ended when Rome conquered Egypt in 30 BCE. After that, Egypt became a province of Rome.
2,000 years ago.
Yeah, all things considered, I guess I'm better off just being a normal kid.
So, ancient Egypt had kings and queens. What do we have here in the United States?
President.
We got the president, and then in our states, we've got our governors to kind of help rule. So ancient Egypt had those queens. Class? I want to know, does anyone know where Egypt is?
Yes.
Anyone? It's not Israel. Israel's a country. India's a good guess. It's kind of that way, but no. Rochelle? That's where? All right, are you ready to have your mind blown? Egypt is actually in Africa.
What the heck?
I found out yesterday that in 4th grade, some of us think that Africa is a country. Africa is not a country, it's a continent. So a continent is a big piece of land that a bunch of countries are inside of. So Africa, Xavier, won't you back to your seat? Africa, yeah, there's lions and tigers. And we've already visited Africa once this year. When did we visit Africa? In our class. What did we do? We made our African masks. So we visited this part down here where that bottom line is of Africa when we went and learned about the Swahili tribes and started building those African masks. This time, we're all the way up here in this red zone. This is where Egypt is. Now, if you see the top of my arrow, where that little dot is, well, there's not a dot, but where the top of my arrow is, that's where we are. So are we close to Africa or are we not? Far. We're pretty far. How could we get there? Take a ship. Lewis? There's no trains that cross the big ocean. That's a good guess. Take a ship. What else? Fly an airplane. Take a plane.
Take a train.
Or a submarine. That's a really good guess. Now, last class.
Yes.
I know we're excited, but we've got to keep our voices under control. What do we think these big blue things are here? Water. They're actually seas. We have the Mediterranean Sea, and we have the Red Sea. So you can see here on the map that 2 sides are surrounded by water, and then what do we think this long blue string is?
River.
but between the Mississippi and the Nile, those are the biggest, longest rivers in the world. And it actually has its own type of crocodile. Now, since we can't walk to Egypt, we would have to fly or take a boat or submarine. We need to make some passports. I talked about passports at the beginning of the year. You have to get it stamped. We can't walk through the ocean. With God's help, jaws, jellyfish, but jaws. With God's help. All right. Yes. You want to say questions? What? Yes. I'm just waiting for all of this. What we're going to do is we're going to fold our passport hamburger style to get the front. Then you're going to fold it, I guess hot dog.
No, that's sandwich.
You have a front of your passport that you can color, and you have a back of your passport where you can put your picture. You need to write your name, your age, and how tall do you think you are? This way. All right, let's go back to the seats.
Let's go back to our seats.
All right, let's try this again. If I'm talking, what should we do?
Yes.
On the back, you can do what? What did I suggest that we could do? Right? Draw your picture, write your name, your age, and your height. While you are working on your passport for me, I'm going to be setting up stations at each table. Please don't touch the stuff at the stations until I tell you what we're doing. I just want you to work on your passport. The passport is going to help us keep track of where we're going in our stations. So as you complete a station, you're going to get a stamp in your passport so we know what we've done and where we still need to go. Oh, work on these. I think we need to go sit back and work on these. I will bring around the stations. Don't touch them until I tell you what we're doing. Do I have any questions? What's the first way you fold your paper? Hamburger, and then hot Don't forget John. Grab one yummy on that way. Alright, let me see a thumbs up if you were able to fold your passport. Hey, Xavier, can you put those in your pocket and we're going to look at your passport right now? Hold it. Like this. name on your paper and then you can go today. Okay.
I don't know my wife.
Yeah,